Welcome back to River City Hardball, presented by DBAT Jacksonville. It's a pleasure to have a couple of guys from Bishop Snyder. The pitching coach is Rusty Kellum, 2024 Florida Gators signee, Aidan King, who's put up big numbers in his senior season. Guys, thanks so much for being on with us here tonight. Coach Kellum, great to see you again. How are you?
Good to see you, Gibby. We're doing great, buddy. Thanks for having us on. We're excited to be here.
Absolutely. Aidan, tell me about this senior season you've had at Snyder. Over 100 strikeouts, only 6 walks. What kind of season have you put together yourself here?
Yeah, I feel like I've put up some good numbers this year, just going off of last year, really just building upon the team and growing as a team, especially as my senior year wraps up. It's been pretty special to have Coach Kellum and his knowledge with pitching to allow me to succeed and obviously committing to Florida earlier in my junior year.
Coach Kellum, Aidan King has put together an incredible senior season. You were telling me earlier 107 strikeouts to just 6 walks this year. Those are mind boggling numbers, Coach.
Yeah, it's like a video game with him, is what a couple of scouts have said. Just the numbers that he puts up. But Aiden came on campus being able to know he had a knowledge of how to pitch, so he had a really good upbringing in the game, and some guys that coached him along the way. The Crawford brothers did a great job preparing him for high school, and so he makes us look like better coaches than we really are.
Aidan, when you think about those numbers that you've put up so far in your senior season, 107 strikeouts to just 6 walks, do you think about how staggering those numbers are? I mean, what do you think about that?
I think it's pretty impressive. It also reflects on like my younger age of just how my coaches have taught me to pitch and just becoming the player I am. And then I just think of numbers are just they're just numbers to me. I still have to go out every game and perform, whether if I have 100 strikeouts or less than 100. I still have to go out there and pitch to the team and dominate every pitch.
Well, it sounds like that's what you're doing so far. Aidan King, 2024 from Bishop Snyder. He's on his way to the University of Florida. We'll get to that in just a moment, Aidan. But tell me describe yourself as a pitcher, Aidan. How would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as I work at a fast rate or a fast pace. Command, I have good command and I just dominate. That's just my whole thing. I dominate.
Coach Kellum, I want to ask you the same question. How would you describe Aidan King on the mound?
Yeah, he's a complete pitcher. Aiden is a guy that understands how Aiden works, and so he's able to make adjustments in game, between games. He has a game plan. He's a guy that journals. He does things off the field that prepares him when he steps on the field. And he's the guy that's always wanted the ball from the time he was a freshman. He wants the ball in the biggest game. We would ask him. I asked him his freshman against Team A, Team B, and he said Team A. I asked him why, and his answer has always stuck with me. He said because I want to know how good I really am, and he backs that up every day.
Aidan, your future on the mound, you're going to go to the University of Florida. You've signed there already to play in Gainesville. What made you want to become a pitcher? Because that's your future now. What made you decide pitching is where you want to go?
I decided that I want to be a pitcher. I want to say like my sophomore year, junior year. When I decided to switch from Coastal Prospects to 5 star, I found myself that I became a better pitcher, and it would take my career a lot further. And I enjoy pitching. Pitching to me is just something I've always loved doing, and that's just how I dominate on the field.
Aidan, when you were growing up, did you play different sports? What made you decide baseball was going to be your future sport?
Yeah, so I played basketball, soccer. I mean, you name it, I probably played it. My mom always told me when I was younger that if I had like a pen or something, if I had something in my hand, I was always swinging it or I was throwing it. So baseball has always like been there for me. I've always swing and throw things. And then once I got to middle school, I realized like baseball is what I want to do and it's what I love to do and it's just my passion. So that's why I really made the commitment to really do baseball and focus more on my career for baseball.
Coach Kellum, coaching Aidan King, what's that like?
It's pretty easy. Like I said a minute ago, he makes you look like a really good coach. He makes us seem like we're better than we are. But it pushes me too. It makes me more accountable. I make sure that I'm ready every day to stay on top of not just Aiden but all of our guys. We try to stay pretty prepared and have a plan for our guys every single day that they get out there. So he's definitely pushed me to get better.
Coach, you guys have won 7 games in a row. You're playing very well as we get toward the end of this regular season. How do you feel about the season right now for Snyder? Go ahead, Coach. What do you feel about the season?
Yeah, I was running behind you. I'm sorry about that. It's we've had our ups and downs, but we're coming together at the right time. We're playing really well as a team right now. And as a team, our biggest improvement this year has been just the addition of coaches and players. Gil Morales has joined our staff. Of course, Zach's been there for 20 years now. Travis Baptist has been with us for several years, and Nick Karp. So we've got some really quality guys that are able to spread out and coach our guys, and they've taken to some pretty hard coaching recently. We've won our last 7 games, 6 of those by shutout, outscored our opponents 58-2 during that time. Last night we won a really close 2-0 ball game. Aidan threw 3 innings in that game. Luke Manderson threw the other 4 for a one hitter in the end. Cody Bichelle has done really well for us this year. He's 6-1. He's another 10th grader that we have. So all of that, and then bats and just the style of baseball that we tend to play. The kids are really starting to get a hang of the process and how we play. We scored the winning run last night. Jack Perry was on second. Mason Baptist got a bunt down and sacrifice bunt down, and Jack scored all the way from second to get that run on the board. And Mason's our other senior. So we've got 2 seniors, and everybody else in the program is a freshman or a sophomore. So it's a young bunch, which is a fun thing and a challenging thing. But like I said, they're coming together at just the right time.
Aidan, how do you feel your senior year's going as a team? How do you feel about it?
I feel pretty good about it. This year, we've really focused on becoming a team and connecting as one. Earlier in the year, we were in Fernandina. I think right after Hoover was we lost in the championship, and that really showed us that hey, we have potential to become something special. We have a shot at going to states and actually proving ourselves that we're not just a small school. So when we were in Fernandina, we all decided to stay together in one house and just really grow as a team and connect.
Aidan, let's talk about Florida for a second. You're signed to the University of Florida. Tell us about that process and why Florida for you.
So that was a fun process for me. I chose Florida one because it's been my dream to become a Gator. While I was looking at other schools and had offers from other big schools, the biggest thing for me was after baseball, what school is going to provide me the best education to help me after my baseball career, because like my parents have always told me, baseball is only for a short amount of time. And so Florida has one of the best academic programs in the nation. And then when I was talking with Coach Sullivan and Coach Cobb and Coach Shuck, the pitching history at that school is just insane. It's just knowing that Coach Sullivan has trained pitchers and pitchers are in the starting role in the MLB today that have been to Florida, it's just unreal. And it's me as a pitcher, it's like knowing that I have a good shot at becoming an unreal pitcher if I take advantage of their knowledge. So that was a big thing I took away from that. And they're in the SEC, and everyone knows that the SEC is one of the best in the nation. So I've always wanted to play with the best and against the best. So it made my decision fairly easy for me.
And that's a good, point that you make about, beyond baseball, because that's an important thing to think about when you're being recruited. And it's good stuff. That's mature stuff, right, Coach?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Aidan, tell me about what you throw. I know that fastball has been very good. The consistency there, the location has been very good for you. Tell me about your pitching.
So I dominate a lot on the inside corner with my fastball, majority of my two seam. It's my me and Kellum say it's our favorite pitch to throw because hitters are so uncomfortable with it these days. And then I throw a slider. A slider's my secondary after my fastball. It's I mean I can throw it at any count. I can start at 0-0. I can throw it 0-2. I can throw it 3-2. We're just that comfortable with that pitch. Last year we started throwing a splitter to mix in with the changeup because I started losing the changeup, but we found the grip and the control with it again. So now we have a changeup and a splitter. So I mean, I can throw any pitch in any count to any batter. So it's just all about dominating and throwing in the strike zone and throwing it by people.
When you're going good, as you say, dominating, what's the pitch that's working the best? Is it that two seam? What's working best when you're your best?
I mean, it really could be anything. Yesterday, my slider was on point, but also my two seam was on point. So we just worked off both pitches. 0-0, we started slider 0-0, and it would be a first pitch strike, and then we would go back inside with the two seam. And it really just it when I dominate, it's always dotting the inside corner and working the inside corner and getting ahead early.
Coach Kellum, tell me from your perspective, calling a game for him and just what he's throwing right now. He's got a lot of confidence in it. It sounds like
He does, given it's easy to call a game. I can tell you that it is. It's sort of like playing a video game when he almost throws too many strikes. I mean, in my mind, I'm fearful that we're throwing too many strikes and people are sitting on a certain pitch. But man, he's just successful with what he does and where he throws it. So he's right. We will call odd pitches and odd counts because the kid's over 70% strikes with everything he throws. So.
Let's tell people again the numbers for Aidan King this year in 2024: 107 strikeouts to only 6 walks. That's an incredible ratio, Coach. Aidan King, as far as players that you've coached, as far as talent goes, where does he stack up in your mind?
He's at the top. He's the best. He's the best arm I've ever seen or been around. And we've seen some really talented baseball players. Danny Neareye is a very special one. Playing at UCF, graduated from Notre Dame. So Danny, as a catcher and a hitter, stands out head and shoulders. But on the mound, as far as the pitcher goes, Aidan's the best I've ever seen.
What does that mean to you, Aidan, to hear your pitching coach say words like that about you?
It's pretty humbling to me. I mean, knowing that my hard work is paying off and I'm able to show what everyone has taught me and what he has shown me and to the team that if you believe in the program and trust in what he's saying, that you can end up in my position, if not more. You just really just have to believe in yourself and stay humble and consistent with everything he's telling you.
Final moment or two with Rusty Kellum, the pitching coach at Bishop Snyder, and with 2024 right-hander Aidan King, who's on his way to the University of Florida. I wanted to ask you one other question about the Gators, Aidan. That recruiting process, what were your conversations like with the staff there? And was there anybody else you had in mind, or was your just vision, I want to be a Gator, and that's it?
I had a couple, I was thinking other SEC schools and some ACC schools and Pac-12. I had other schools in mind, but I wanted to stay close to home for my family. My mom always told me if you go out 6 hours, you're gonna have a new roommate, and that's gonna be me. But those conversations were I mean how every conversation goes, it's just we got the best. You're gonna be a guy when you get here. We believe in you, and it's just you're the person that if you take advantage of the knowledge and the program at Florida, then you can become the best. And I mean, it's just what I believed in.
Aidan, do you know that you've got other guys from the Jacksonville area that are either at Florida or guys that are going to Florida? Is that kind of cool? I mean, guys like, Skylar Sanford, who's at St. John's Country Day, he's on his way to Florida. You got some other guys around Jacksonville. Is that something that's pretty cool to you?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like Jacksonville's starting to become a well-known baseball community, and we're starting to grow the community. I got lucky enough to be with Skylar and Colt and at ECP over the summer, so it was pretty neat to be part of that.
Coach, final question, and this is a serious question for sure. The arm and the elbow injuries that we're seeing, Coach. How do you protect your players, and how do you coach and teach these guys to protect themselves and keep themselves healthy, Coach?
Yeah, we've got a year-round arm care and arm conditioning program that we run. So our guys at this point in the season, Gib, we've got days, and so Aidan was on a day 7 yesterday. He's on a day 1 today. So we rotate them through certain days. We believe in variability training. We train different ways and different days. We have a lot of stretching. Our kids lift in season. It's a lot different game than when I played. Just picked up a baseball and threw it and hope that you hang on. So we do a lot to take care of our arms. We'll throw the plyo balls and of course Jager bands. Aidan is a hardcore long toss guy. Even before a game, he's almost throwing foul pole to foul pole, length of the field. So his arm is pretty special. But our other guys in the program, they're doing something every single day. Our JV arms, who by the way went 12-2 this year. I gotta give a little shout out to those kids. Coach Carp did a great job. But they threw bullpens today. So they're on a program, and tomorrow they'll recover. So I try to pound it into our guys that you've got one arm and you've got one career. And so they've got to take care of it. And we try to provide them with every bit of information, every bit of knowledge that we can give them, and every tool that they can use to stay healthy. And then, keep pointing them at guys like Aidan and saying, this is a guy who's done it the right way. Watch what he does. And they do. They watch him. And I'm perfectly at peace with that because I can't think of anybody better for him to watch.
Well, and Aidan, from the perspective of watching your game, Coach told me that you're 92, 93 with your fastball, and you sound like, to me, Aidan, correct me if I'm wrong, you sound like a pitcher to me. And a lot of guys get up there and they want to throw, and it's 99, and it's throwing gas, and that's great, but there's a difference in pitching and throwing. And Aidan, it sounds like that you're more of the pitcher type.
Yes, sir. I've always been told that location is everything, because even though that you might throw 95, 99, that if you put it down the middle, someone's going to end up hitting it. So at a young age, I've never thrown hard. I've always been the late bloomer with my velocity. So I've always focused on location, location, location. And over time, my velo has jumped. So with my velo jumping and me working on my location all the time, it's just developed me into a better pitcher, I believe.
And Coach, that's so important. It's not all about velo; it's also about location. Correct?
Yeah. And being able to pitch, that's the biggest part of it. So he seems to have the perfect balance of that for us. And I do have to say, because he's not going to say it, Gib, he did hit a walk-off home run on senior night. So he pitched that night, got him a complete game, got him a victory, and hit a walk-off home run in that game. Pretty good ball club. So,
man, that's the best of both worlds. You hit a walk-off and you have a complete game on the mound. Aidan, has Florida talked to you about playing both ways? Obviously, you got this guy Jack Caglione that's doing stuff that nobody's doing. But have they talked to you about, hey, we want you to pitch, hey, we want you to do both? Any conversations like that?
That hasn't come into play yet, but I might joke around with it. My dad keeps harassing me about it because he loves watching me hit and play the field. So he's been harassing me about that.
Aidan, how do you protect yourself on the mound? We were just having the conversation with Coach Kellum about protecting your arm and elbow. Do you have conversations with your parents, with the coaches at Florida about arm care? What are those conversations like?
Uh, it's just recovery for me. I mean, we've had conversations about like what recovery should look like, and I mean, they told me like what's working for me right now, just keep with it. So everything that Coach Kellum has taught me for recovery, I've just done, and then other stuff that I've encountered, like after I throw, I go see the trainer, I get scraped, and I do mobility. It's just stuff that I picked up over time that has obviously helped me.
Final thing, Coach Kellum, I want to leave with this. You mentioned earlier that Aidan King's the best arm you've been around. What makes him that way? What makes him the best?
His work ethic, number one, his upbringing. He's a wildly humble young man that is willing to listen. He's extremely coachable, and then I mean you add to that the gifts that God gave him. He's one of the most flexible human beings you're ever going to come in contact with. So all of that put together. But if you don't have that internal makeup and that character, Aidan's an integrity guy. He's the guy that we trust, and he leads by example. So I think that's what sets him apart.
Rusty Kellum is the pitching coach for Bishop Snyder. Aidan King, a 2024 right-hander. We'll see if he plays both ways going down the stretch here and at the University of Florida. Guys, so much. This was so much fun. Thanks so much for your time, Aidan and Coach Kellum. This was great stuff. Thank you.
You're the man, buddy.